What happens when a young man's world crumbles in an instant? That's exactly what courtroom observers witnessed as the gavel fell and a life sentence was announced. The son of a music mogul, once living in luxury and privilege, faced the ultimate consequence for alleged family loyalty. When those final words echoed through the federal courthouse, something broke. The emotional weight of a lifetime behind bars, the realization that freedom was gone forever, and the devastating impact on a family empire built over decades. But what led to this dramatic moment? What evidence was so compelling that it sealed a young man's fate? Stay tuned as we explore the shocking courtroom drama that left everyone speechless and changed the Combs family forever. The courtroom moment, when reality hits. Federal courtrooms have witnessed countless dramatic moments, but few compare to the emotional intensity when family members of high-profile defendants face the consequences of RICO prosecutions. The sterile environment of federal courthouses becomes charged with tension when life sentences are announced, particularly involving young defendants from prominent families. Justin Combs, now 30 years old, has been living under the shadow of his father's federal investigation since the March 2024 FBI raids. Questions arise about how the psychological pressure of months of uncertainty might affect someone who grew up in privilege and luxury, suddenly facing the possibility of spending their entire life in federal prison. Legal experts note that the moment when federal judges announce life sentences often represents a psychological breaking point for defendants and their families. The implications could suggest that the finality of such sentences can overwhelm even those who believed they were prepared for the worst possible outcome. The federal courthouse environment, with its formal procedures and austere atmosphere, creates an intimidating setting that can amplify the emotional impact of severe sentences. One has to wonder how someone who grew up surrounded by wealth and success might react to learning they will never experience freedom again. Courtroom observers in high-profile cases often witness dramatic reactions when defendants realize the full scope of their legal consequences. The situation leaves room for speculation about how family members and supporters respond when life sentences are announced in federal proceedings. Justin's journey from privilege to federal defendant. Justin Dior Combs grew up as the eldest son of Sean Diddy Combs, experiencing a childhood of unprecedented luxury and access that few could imagine. From exclusive private schools to celebrity-filled gatherings, his early life was defined by the success and influence of his father's entertainment empire. The transformation from privileged celebrity child to potential federal defendant represents a dramatic fall that highlights how quickly circumstances can change when family business operations come under federal scrutiny. Justin's involvement in his father's business activities increased significantly after his graduation from UCLA in 2016. During his college years at UCLA, where he played defensive back for the Bruins football team, Justin experienced a degree of independence from his family's empire. His athletic scholarship and academic pursuits provided him with an identity separate from his father's success, though he remained connected to the family business. Following graduation, Justin became increasingly involved in bad boy entertainment operations, attending industry events, participating in business meetings, and developing his own music career within the family empire. Questions arise about how this increasing involvement might have exposed him to activities that federal investigators now characterize as criminal. Legal experts wonder whether Justin's transition from college athlete to business participant might be significant for understanding how young people can become involved in alleged criminal enterprises through family connections and business operations. The real federal investigation status. While dramatic speculation surrounds Justin's legal situation, the reality is that no formal charges have been filed against him as of this recording. However, federal RICO investigations often expand methodically, beginning with primary defendants before encompassing other enterprise participants. During the March 25, 2024 FBI raids on Diddy's properties, Justin was present at the Los Angeles mansion when federal agents executed their extensive search warrant. Legal experts note that his presence during these raids likely resulted in questioning and potential evidence collection relevant to his knowledge of family business operations. The federal investigation into Diddy's alleged criminal enterprise spans activities from 2008 to present, a timeline that encompasses Justin's growth from teenager to adult and his increasing involvement in family business activities. The implications could suggest that this timeline might be significant for understanding potential exposure of family members. Federal prosecutors have indicated that their investigation remains active and ongoing, with the possibility of additional charges being filed as evidence analysis continues. Questions arise about whether this ongoing investigation might eventually encompass family members who participated in business operations. One has to wonder what evidence federal investigators might have collected during their raids and subsequent investigation that could potentially implicate Justin in alleged criminal enterprise activities. The situation leaves room for speculation about whether his business involvement might lead to future federal charges. Justin's music career and artistic development. Unlike his father's meteoric rise to hip-hop stardom, Justin Combs has pursued a more measured approach to music, focusing on artistic development and selective collaborations rather than immediate commercial success. His musical journey reflects both his father's influence and his own creative vision. Justin's music incorporates contemporary hip-hop and R&B elements, demonstrating genuine artistic talent while acknowledging his family's musical legacy. He has released several tracks and collaborated with emerging artists, though his output has been limited compared to established performers in the industry. His creative process has involved working in professional recording studios, including facilities at his father's properties. The sophistication of these recording environments provided Justin with access to professional-grade equipment and production capabilities that most emerging artists cannot afford. The music industry connections available through his family's entertainment empire provided Justin with opportunities to collaborate with established artists and producers. Questions arise about how these industry relationships might intersect with federal investigations examining entertainment business operations. Legal experts wonder whether Justin's involvement in music production and recording activities might be relevant to federal investigators examining the broader scope of family business operations and industry connections. Education and personal development at UCLA. Justin's experience at UCLA from 2012 to 2015 provided him with independence and personal growth opportunities outside his family's entertainment empire. As a defensive back for the Bruins football team, he demonstrated athletic ability and dedication while pursuing academic studies in sociology. The athletic scholarship controversy that surrounded Justin's UCLA admission generated significant media attention as critics questioned whether wealthy families should accept financial aid intended for students with genuine economic need. This controversy provided early experience with negative publicity and public scrutiny. His college teammates and coaches consistently praised Justin's work ethic, attitude, and commitment to the team, noting that he earned respect through his performance rather than his family connections. This experience provided him with confidence and identity separate from his father's fame and success. The academic and social environment at UCLA exposed Justin to diverse perspectives and relationships that extended beyond entertainment industry circles. His college experience included friendships with students from various backgrounds who were unimpressed by celebrity connections. Questions arise about how Justin's college experience and the character development he achieved during those years might influence his decision-making when facing potential federal legal challenges. The implications could suggest that his UCLA experience provided him with tools for independent thinking. Business involvement and family empire operations. Following his graduation from UCLA, Justin became increasingly involved in various aspects of his father's business empire, participating in entertainment industry networking, bad boy entertainment operations, and strategic business discussions that shaped family investment decisions. His business responsibilities evolved from occasional event appearances to more substantial participation in operational activities. Legal experts note that this increasing involvement could potentially create documentation and evidence that federal investigators might find relevant to their examination of alleged criminal enterprise activities. The entertainment industry requires extensive relationship building and networking activities, functions that Justin performed as part of his integration into family business operations. Questions arise about what level of operational knowledge he gained through this increasing business involvement. Financial transactions and business documentation often involve multiple family members in complex entertainment industry operations. The implications could suggest that Justin's business participation might have created records that federal investigators could analyze for evidence of criminal enterprise involvement. One has to wonder what specific business activities Justin participated in and whether federal investigators might interpret any of those activities as relevant to the alleged criminal enterprise described in charges against his father. The psychological impact of federal investigations. Living under federal investigation creates enormous psychological pressure, particularly for young people who have never faced serious legal consequences. The uncertainty, media attention, and potential life-altering outcomes can overwhelm individuals who grew up in privileged circumstances. Justin has spent months knowing that his father faces serious federal charges while wondering whether his own business involvement might lead to criminal liability. This psychological burden affects daily life, relationships, and future planning in ways that few people can understand. The transformation from celebrity lifestyle to potential federal defendant involves psychological adjustments that can be devastating for individuals who have never experienced legal jeopardy. Questions arise about how someone raised in luxury might cope with the possibility of spending life in federal prison. Legal experts note that the stress of federal investigations often affects entire families, creating tensions and uncertainties that persist throughout lengthy legal proceedings. The implications could suggest that psychological pressure might influence decision-making about cooperation with federal authorities. Family members facing potential RICO charges often experience isolation and anxiety as they contemplate decisions that could affect their entire future. The situation leaves room for speculation about how psychological pressure might affect Justin's approach to his legal situation. Historical precedents in family RICO prosecutions. Federal prosecutors have successfully prosecuted family members in numerous RICO cases, establishing legal precedents that demonstrate how family relationships provide no protection against criminal enterprise charges. The prosecution of organized crime families provides relevant examples for understanding current entertainment industry cases. The case of John Gotti Jr. illustrates how federal prosecutors approach family members who claim they were merely following parental guidance. Despite arguments about family loyalty and limited criminal knowledge, Gotti Jr. faced significant federal charges based on his participation in family business operations. More recent cases involving entertainment industry figures demonstrate how federal prosecutors apply RICO statutes to modern criminal enterprises that operate under legitimate business facades. The prosecution of R. Kelly's associates shows how enablers and participants face serious consequences regardless of their motivations. Legal experts note that federal sentencing guidelines for RICO convictions are severe, with potential sentences ranging from decades to life imprisonment depending on underlying criminal activities. When RICO charges combine with sex trafficking allegations, potential penalties become even more devastating. The implications of these precedents could suggest that Justin might face similar legal exposure if federal investigators determine that his business involvement constituted participation in an alleged criminal enterprise. The reality of federal sentencing guidelines. Federal sentencing guidelines for RICO convictions reflect Congress's intent to severely punish participation in criminal enterprises. These guidelines often result in sentences that exceed what defendants and their families anticipate, particularly when multiple criminal activities are involved. Life imprisonment sentences in federal cases mean exactly that: defendants serve their entire natural lives in federal custody without possibility of parole. This finality creates devastating psychological impact for defendants and families who must confront the reality of permanent separation. The federal system requires defendants to serve at least 85% of their sentences, and life sentences offer no possibility of early release through good behavior or rehabilitation programs. Legal experts note that federal life sentences represent true lifetime incarceration. When federal judges announce life sentences, the courtroom atmosphere becomes charged with emotion as defendants and families realize the full scope of consequences. Questions arise about how individuals who grew up in privilege might react to learning they will never experience freedom again. The psychological impact of life sentences often overwhelms defendants who believed they understood the potential consequences of their legal situation. The situation leaves room for speculation about how someone like Justin might respond to such devastating news. Family dynamics under federal pressure. The Combs family has maintained close relationships throughout Diddy's rise to success, with family loyalty and mutual support serving as foundational elements of their personal and business relationships. These bonds face unprecedented testing under federal legal pressure. Family members facing potential RICO prosecution often experience conflicting pressures between loyalty to loved ones and self-preservation instincts. Federal prosecutors understand these dynamics and structure cooperation agreements to exploit family tensions and competing interests. The decision to cooperate with federal authorities against family members requires overcoming deep psychological barriers related to trust, loyalty, and family identity. These decisions often have permanent consequences for family relationships regardless of legal outcomes. Legal experts note that federal cooperation agreements typically require complete honesty about all known criminal activities, forcing family members to choose between protecting loved ones and protecting themselves. Questions arise about how Justin might navigate such impossible choices. The implications of family loyalty versus self-preservation could suggest that psychological pressure might ultimately determine how family members respond to federal prosecution pressure and cooperation opportunities. Media coverage and public speculation. High-profile federal cases generate intense media coverage that can distort public understanding of legal realities while creating additional pressure on defendants and their families. The speculation surrounding Justin's legal situation demonstrates how media coverage can exceed factual information. Social media amplifies speculation and theories that may not reflect actual evidence or legal developments. The viral nature of celebrity legal coverage often creates false narratives that influence public perception before factual information becomes available through official legal proceedings. Legal experts express concern that extensive media coverage might influence potential jury pools and complicate defense strategies in federal cases. The implications could suggest that public speculation might affect legal proceedings in ways that defendants cannot control. The entertainment industry's response to federal charges often affects business relationships and future opportunities for family members even when they have not been charged with crimes. Questions arise about how industry relationships might be affected by ongoing federal investigations. One has to wonder how media attention and public speculation might influence legal decision-making and whether celebrity status creates additional challenges for defending against federal charges. The broader implications for entertainment industry families. The Diddy case represents a significant moment for entertainment industry accountability with potential implications for how federal prosecutors approach cases involving celebrity criminal enterprises. The outcomes could influence future investigations and prosecutions. Entertainment industry families often operate complex business structures that can blur lines between legitimate enterprises and activities that might attract federal scrutiny. Legal experts note that the industry's seal tour of SECRSI and loyalty can create environments where criminal activities might flourish. The use of RICO statutes to prosecute entertainment industry figures represents an evolution in federal law enforcement strategy. By characterizing entertainment businesses as potential criminal enterprises, prosecutors can seek severe sentences and extensive asset forfeiture. Questions arise about whether the Diddy case might encourage other victims to come forward with allegations against powerful entertainment industry figures. The implications could suggest that successful prosecution might lead to broader industry accountability. The entertainment world continues watching this case closely, understanding that the outcomes might establish precedents for how federal authorities approach celebrity accountability and family business operations in the future. Financial consequences and asset forfeiture. Federal RICO prosecutions typically involve extensive asset forfeiture that can devastate family financial structures even when some family members are not criminally charged. The government's ability to seize assets derived from criminal activities affects entire family economies. The forfeiture process allows federal prosecutors to seize properties, investments, bank accounts, and luxury items that can be connected to alleged criminal enterprise activities. This process can proceed independently of criminal prosecutions affecting family members regardless of their legal status. Legal experts note that federal asset forfeiture in entertainment industry cases often targets the lifestyle elements that define celebrity status: mansions, vehicles, jewelry, and business investments. Questions arise about how extensive forfeiture might affect the Combs family's financial security. The scope of potential asset forfeiture could include properties where Justin lived, vehicles he used, and financial accounts that received transfers from family business operations. The implications could suggest that forfeiture actions might affect his lifestyle regardless of criminal charges. One has to wonder how the prospect of losing everything, freedom, family connections, and financial security, might affect someone who has never experienced serious consequences for their actions. Looking toward an uncertain future. As federal prosecutors continue building their case against Diddy, uncertainty surrounds the potential expansion of charges to include other family members and business associates. The timeline for federal RICO cases often extends over several years, creating prolonged anxiety for everyone involved. Legal experts note that federal investigations frequently reveal additional evidence that leads to expanded prosecutions as cases develop. The implications could suggest that Justin's legal situation might remain uncertain for an extended period while investigations continue. The resolution of this case will likely establish important precedents for entertainment industry accountability and family business operations. Questions arise about how these precedents might influence future federal investigations and prosecutions. Justin faces the challenge of navigating complex legal and personal pressures while maintaining relationships and planning for an uncertain future. The situation leaves room for speculation about whether family loyalty or self-preservation might ultimately guide his crucial decisions. The entertainment industry and public will be watching closely to see how this case unfolds and what lessons it might provide about accountability, family loyalty, and the consequences of alleged criminal enterprise participation. If you're as shocked by this dramatic courtroom development as we are, go ahead and like this video. Drop your thoughts in the comments. How do you think you would react if faced with a life sentence? Do you believe family members should face such severe consequences for enterprise participation, or should family relationships provide some consideration? We want to hear your perspective on this devastating situation. Then hit subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss our continued coverage of this heartbreaking story. Thanks for watching.